Congressman, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a pleasure to be here this evening. And I would like to really thank the members who are here tonight. We haven't had a chance to do that yet. We thanked a number of people, but you were all voting while we were thanking them. So could I please thank the members for their presence here tonight? Thank you. There are two main points I would like to make, and then I'd like to do a deep dive into, as the Congressman said, some success we're having in Gabon. Key point I would start with: we don't know what we don't know. The secret to success is being able to recognize when we don't know what we don't know. And when it comes to the subject of biodiversity, that has been a growing awareness in terms of learning when, how, where, why, who. We don't know what we don't know. The second major learning when it comes to biodiversity and when it comes to our responsibilities is when you make a mistake, acknowledge that mistake, learn from that mistake, and move on. So let me give you two examples. When we first went to Gabon some 40 years ago, this was a brand new country entry. And when you are in the kind of business we are in a country entry, you want to enter in a grand way and demonstrate your prowess so that you earn the license to operate and hopefully keep it. Well, we went to Gabon and we had to build housing for our employees. So we brought the best drawings, the best technologies that we have used around the world to Gabon to build housing for employees, and we had trouble building them. Trying to find local people who could build that housing was a challenge. What was wrong? And I'll never forget one of my first experiences visiting with the then chairman of Shell, who was actually in charge of this, said, we discovered that we brought the designs to build housing in Gabon which would withstand a Scandinavian winter. So we had roofs to build which would hold up to 3 feet of snow. Of course, in Gabon, equatorial Gabon, 3 feet of snow wasn't needed. So that's a very simple example. A second example is burying waste. Burying waste has long been thought of many years ago as the best way to get rid of it, right? Bury it, you don't have to see it. Well, we discovered that in equatorial Gabon, burying waste is a different kind of an issue. We made the mistakes of burying waste, which we had to resurface and deal with quite differently. But let me go into some depth on Gabon and sustainable development, because sustainable development has been a learning journey for us. If we go back to the late 1990s, facing the combined impact of a world awareness growing on the issues of extraction industries, growing on the awareness and the validity and legitimacy of environmental NGOs bringing their stories forward and bringing their principles and their issues, whether it's the Sullivan Principles on human rights or whether it is other principles brought by other organizations, to ignore those principles and to not be involved in the process of trying to understand and to help them evolve is to deny frankly, the undeniable. And we learned some lessons in the late 90s in the face of low-price oil and increasing environmental awareness and concern about how to approach sustainable development. So quite bluntly, in 1997, Shell made some critical decisions which impact us still today. We committed in 1997 to reduce our carbon footprint to below 1990 levels while growing our business by 2010. Over that period of the last 10 years, we're on track to reduce our carbon footprint as a company so that we don't talk about it, we show that we can do it, and we're on track to achieve that over the next couple of years. It's been difficult, it's been challenging, and it's been expensive, but we are able to say we can reduce the carbon footprint while increasing a business that is very heavily carbon-based, as we know. We also made a commitment to report to our stakeholders starting in 1997 that we would report with third-party audit validity our entire environmental, health, safety record to the people of the world. And we started publishing the Shell Report in 1997. We're now getting ready to do our 11th edition. I'm pleased to know that many other companies are now producing an environmental report which does describe the improvements, the changes, the track record, the mistakes, and what we're doing to continue to drive sustainable development through our entire business portfolio. But let's move a little more deeply into Gabon. As we considered our experience in Gabon, and the fact that we are, in essence, an extraction company, as Red Cavaney said so clearly, a group of engineers who like data, who like facts, who like to make decisions, and who like machines and who like equipment, we felt we need to reach out to people who know more than we know about what this means in this operating environment. And we became friends with the Smithsonian Institution. And over the past number of years, it's been a growing partnership with the Smithsonian Institution to understand the importance of the biodiversity of Gabon and to think about how we can combine our activities of continuing to produce roughly 70,000 barrels a day of oil while continuing to drill new wells. And Red described the process of shrinking the footprint and expanding the resource base underground. But to work with the Smithsonian in a partnership that actually began some 10 years ago when we had the opportunity to develop the Camisea Basin in Peru. Now, we gave up our interests in the Camisea Basin in Peru over some business principles issues where we were unwilling to compromise our business principles in order to continue to do business there. And as a consequence, we moved on. And so, but with the partnership with the Smithsonian, we'd learned so much about the flora and the fauna and the biodiversity in working with the Smithsonian that we invited this partnership to continue in Gabon. And so at the same time we're able to meet the needs of growing energy demand, we're also able to meet simultaneously the need to protect biodiversity.